if you want to do the Connor McDavid gets away with stuff, which I'm sure he gets away with stuff, whatever superstars do, he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to people taking penalties against him. All right, we got our suspensions. Connor McDavid, Tyler Myers, 3 games apiece. We will do way more on this on the show, but we want to do something immediately. Have it up there. If you're just seeing this via that, subscribe to us on YouTube. Watch our shows. We do it every day. It's a lot of fun. 3 games, Pete. 3 games apiece. It means that both will miss the rematch Thursday in Edmonton. That's your least favorite part, but what's your take and read on 3 for each?
I mean, it's not that surprising. I thought that it would be around there. I feel like McDavid probably wouldn't have gotten 3 games if Myers also wasn't suspended. And I feel like Myers was worse. We talked about that on the show today, just because it seemed more instigatory, where why do you do that? Why do you cross-check Evan Bouchard in the face? At least McDavid had a reason based off of what Conor Garland was doing to him. And, he's not really a repeat offender, so I would imagine like 2 games maybe, had Myers not gotten 3, but that's not here nor there. I think my bigger takeaway from it is the messaging that's coming out of the Edmonton camp today, which we've seen a column from Mark Spector saying McDavid sticking up for himself because he's sick of being ambushed and sick of being jumped by a bunch of opponents. And then you had the tweet from Bob Stauffer saying, like, McDavid's only drawn 14 penalties this year. He's super low in terms of penalties drawn per 60. He's not getting like the calls that you would expect him to, or the amount of penalties drawn that you would expect one of the best players and hardest players to defend in the league would get.
Yeah, do you remember? I think it was 2021, first round, Oilers and Jets. Afterwards, Connor McDavid was like, please just call the rule book. That's like that's all I'm asking. And we talk about it today that like if you want to do the Connor McDavid gets away with stuff, which I'm sure he gets away with stuff, whatever superstars do, he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to people taking penalties against him. So I'm not surprised by the numbers that Bob Stauffer put out there. I, though, am very surprised by 3 games for him. And I think that honestly, this is like a makeup call for the Marcus Johansson thing. If the previous game he didn't chicken wing a player and there wasn't already some murmuring about, hey, how come Connor McDavid is getting away with cheap stuff? He would not have gotten 3 games, I don't think, for a cross check at the end of the game. When, as you said, there was at least a rhyme and a reason to it. 3 games, I think, is a lot for that isolated. And this is second suspension of his career. As you said, not a repeat offender. The other one was in 2019 for something that he did on Nick Leddy. This is a lot for me. And I think that it is more like message sending from the league to either Connor McDavid that, hey, you can't get away with this stuff, or to people who cry about Connor McDavid saying, see, he can't get away with this stuff.
Yeah, and I think in both cases with Myers and McDavid, it's a case of like it's not a hockey play. It was just blatantly dirty, blatantly not okay. Like it definitely needed to be suspended, and I don't mind the messaging of being like this game is essentially over, and you're taking a shot at a guy's face with the stick. Like both of those were pretty egregious infractions. But again, like McDavid had a reason for his, where Myers was just like, and Myers admitted this, he was like, I wasn't trying to do that, but it was completely unnecessary and I misfired. So
So
no such apology, at least that we know of from McDavid. I did find it interesting that in the Department of Player Safety explanations for the suspension, they did reference Myers like sort of apologizing and pleading his case that he didn't mean for that to happen. And there was no comment about like what sort of response or defense McDavid had for himself. So whether that means he didn't bring one to the table, I know they said his meeting only lasted 20 minutes. So I don't know, maybe he was just like, yeah, I did it. You maybe call when a guy is, in the words of Bob Stauffer, dry humping me on the ice at the end of a game and taking me out of the play.
I would not begrudge Connor McDavid for using his hearing with Department of Player Safety as a hearing against Department of Player Safety and officiating. Like, I'm sure that he went into that wanting as many answers about why are we not going to do anything about what Conor Garland was doing to me. I'm sure that cross check was probably a boiling point or whatever for him with how much can people get away with against me? So I'm sure that he went into that exasperated. So yeah, I bet he did not apologize, and maybe that didn't help his case. Why do you think that it was equal though? Because it didn't need to be equal.
Well, I mean, I think that optics wise, like if McDavid gets 2 games and Myers gets 3 or 4 or whatever, there's going to be claims that it's favoritism because McDavid's a star player, and again, both circumstances were completely unnecessary and just not hockey plays, just dirty plays at the end of a game that didn't really need to happen. Although, again, I think that Myers was looking for it a little bit more than McDavid was, because he was being like, McDavid was being assaulted basically and taken out of the play. But again, it's just kind of a situation where neither one of these things needed to happen. And to your point, like, I wouldn't blame McDavid if he went into that meeting with, well, maybe if the refs did their fucking jobs, neither one of us would be having these meetings, because I wouldn't have needed to cross-check a guy in the face or felt the need to when there was a penalty called when I was being dry humped on the ice.
All right, well, the league is on to the worst villain it has. Connor McDavid, watch your ass. They've got you.
We all silly like the mayor.